Why should you always do a second date? Stop making a final decision based on a 60-minute stress test, because you're missing out on great people because you're making a lifelong decision based on a 1-hour audition. Here's a new rule I give to all my clients: make the second date your default. And let's be crystal clear about this. This doesn't apply to a hell no. If they were rude to the waiter, if they were disrespectful, if they made you feel unsafe, or your gut was screaming danger, you're done, trust it. But I'm talking about the dates that are just fine. The ones that were a bit awkward, the ones where you didn't feel fireworks. The truth is, a first date is not a real connection. It's an unnatural, high-pressure interview, the 60-minute stress test. And in this test, you're not meeting them, you're meeting their anxiety. You're meeting their representative, the polished ambassador who is terrified of rejection. This anxiety shows up as in two main costumes. First, there's the obvious nervousness. They talk too fast, or they barely talk at all. They fumble their words, spill their drink, or just seem incredibly awkward. The second costume is a bit trickier, overconfidence. And this is just nervousness in a different outfit. They brag too much about their job, they talk too loudly or too much, they try way too hard to be slick and witty, and it just feels a bit off. The second date is the first real date. The interview pressure is off, the am I good enough script gets put aside, and both people can finally exhale. The first date is about judgment, the second date is about curiosity. You stop auditioning them and you start seeing them. That's when their real personality, their actual sense of humour and their warmth finally have the space to show up. I recently caught up with a client from a few years ago. Back then, she was on date after date, convinced something was wrong with her. I told her to make the second date a default. She met a guy, she wasn't blown away on the first date, but she took my advice and went on the second date. They've now been together for 4 years and still going strong. So stop making a permanent decision based on a temporary feeling of awkwardness. Stop judging a person's entire character based on how they act under pressure. Make the second date default. Give them a chance to show you who they are when they're not on stage.